Welcome to the 2021 Economic Depression and Preparation Channel. I'm your host, Tony. Thank you for joining me on this Wednesday, Hump Day, September 8th, 2021. Today, I want to talk to you about the jobs report, also about consumer sentiment and spending slowing down. And of course, we're going to touch on the Delta variant and the various ways that this COVID-19 is going to be a never-ending cycle to help depress this economy even further. But there is bright spots. The bright spots is that everything is being held together mindfully and prayerfully by the Federal Reserve and also by the strengthening resolve of American citizens who are working together in their communities to help to bridge the gap between the lacking public services that are going to be decreasing and the shortages that are going to be increasing in various stores that we've all become accustomed to because of the shipping crisis that's happening out in the ports of LA and the ports of over on the East Coast as well. And this is just starting to come trickle in this winter and fall, and later on next year we're going to see more shortages from the warehouses of various parts. It's going to take longer for automotive parts to get here, longer for everything to get from overseas. And so these delays are going to continue throughout 2022 and 2023. And so we just have to be prepared for that. So I just want to keep in mind. So let's get right into it, guys. The jobs report disappoints. Only 235,000 positions added. They expected over 720,000 positions to be added in the month of August and September, but that has just not been the case in August, as you can see here. Unemployment rate fell to 5.2%, and as you can see here, that is pretty much correct here. This data is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Now, this is seasonally adjusted. We know the real unemployment rate right here is actually 10%, double that, because you have to factor those people who are got furloughed and never came back from their jobs after the corona lockdowns kind of partially ended in some of the states, and also those who are underemployed, those in the students and those in other various industries as well. So, but anyway, the number there, 5.2%, what we have here, we're going with the official numbers here in our clip. Wages rose at a 4.3% year over year clip, but inflation is at what percent? We have inflation right now at 7% and rising. I was in Target the other day at one of these stores. They all have converted mostly to self-checkout, as you know. And two young college students, as you know, college has started for most people this month or last month. And I guess they were freshmen, and the parents moved in. And two ladies, I guess they were roommates from the dormitory. They were marked at the checkout next to me that they had bought 3 items. Just 3 items. I don't know what they had. It was like, I guess, some kind of beauty and hair care products for women, And it ended up being like $38, $35 to $38. And they were like, wow, I only got 3 items, So inflation is definitely on the rise on consumer goods, food, and utilities. Those 3 areas are going to feel the most inflation here. And it's not surprising because we've all now seen the effects of the we've had 3 stimulus checks printed up, the America's CARES Act, all of these acts that printed up. And you notice how the information on the infrastructure plan that President Biden has been touting, he was going on a tour on the East Coast touting that in Ohio and other states, right? You notice that that's gone to the back burner now. You notice there's not much talk about that infrastructure bill. Nancy Pelosi said they were going to talk about it on September 17th is the deadline that they gave. But guys, if President Trump couldn't get a money for a wall, $1 trillion wall, for the southern borders, it's going to be a very hard sell with this infrastructure bill. If it does pass, look for it to be under $1 trillion, maybe closer to something like $700 billion or less for an infrastructure bill. And so that's going to also dampen the efforts of this, this administration and this whole economy here. But, at this point, ladies and gentlemen, we're blessed just to have an infrastructure bill that may pass, that can get through something. Because at this point, the money has been spent on other things. As you know, we just ended the longest war in history, 21 years in Afghanistan. And President Biden is adamant. He said that he addresses disappointing data from August job report. It's not much he can do because winter is coming, as they say in the movies. Next year is going to be when the rubber hits the road. Next year's summer, we're going to be firmly into this double dip recession. Yay, I say depression, because of all of the money printing and everything that's been spent. Inflation is just going to get out of hand. And signs of fickle consumer as borrowing slows in July. Listen, July consumer credit growth rises at a much slower pace than 2 months, and that's obvious. We haven't got another stimulus check. Most Americans, remember now, the unemployment benefits, extended benefits have ended now. It's past Labor Day now, and also the rental and eviction moratorium has been extended in some states until December. I'm pretty sure, or close to that. Somebody can tell me in the comments. But we're looking at a decrease in credit. We're looking at a decrease in overall consumer spending. When I say consumer, I'm talking about all of us as Americans. That's what they mean in these articles when they say consumer. They mean, we're the buyer. We're Americans. We're buying goods and services. That's all it means is that. So now this does not include mortgage loans, which is the largest category of household debt. Mortgage loans have been holding steady. So that's good news for those of us who are looking for a house, who are already got into a house. And for those of you who have paid off your house, that's great. It's a seller's market. If you do want to sell and go to somewhere safe, not somewhere safe, but a retirement community in Florida or Texas or, one of the states to kind of get more preparations in, you can do that. If you choose to stay where you're at, God bless you, but it's a blessing not to have that burden on your shoulders as well. Credit cards rose 6.7% after taking a 22.4% gain in the prior month. So, guys, auto loans and student loans are killing the millennial generation and the Generation Y and those following that. And this is something that's going to be really harsh when we go into hyperinflation. Those holding auto loans and student loans and, to a lesser extent, credit cards, because credit cards you can kind of like get a handle on and pay off. So all Americans, no matter where they live at in this country, know that something is up, something is coming down the pipe that the Federal Reserve and that the big wigs in Congress and DC are not telling us exactly. One of the things is that now the perspectives in CNN Business, they're telling us that the Delta variant, right, is hurting U.S. jobs. We now likely won't see a full, quote unquote, recovery until 2023. Listen, we won't see a full recovery on my prediction, and we know this, till 2033, the year 2030 and beyond, okay? And because everyone's definition of a full recovery is different. We're only going by what the media is recovery. Nothing's recovered. Because nothing was fixed from 2008. Nothing was fixed from 2001 recession, 2008 financial crisis. Nothing was fixed. It was papered over. And now here we are 16 years later in the same boat. Even worse. Now, the Delta variant, as you know, is one of the variants of COVID. That's going to continue. These variants are going to continue. I heard there's another variant, a Mu variant that's coming out. And even with the vaccines, COVID is not going away because there's no herd immunity, ladies and gentlemen. And that's going to hurt the economy. Jobs are already fragile. As you can see from the previous report, the jobs report was disappointing. Even President Biden alluded to it and said it was disappointing. But get ready for more disappointment because the biggest hits were restaurants and bars. They were forced to close, cut payrolls, hotels, hospitality, transportation sector. Remember, the transportation sector is how we get the interstate highways. A lot of our goods and services come by rail and freight and transportation, meaning a lot of the shipping from the ports, and that's been hurt. They can't find workers, or workers are quitting because they, don't want to take the jab, or they're quitting because they're not making enough money, but they're working all these overtime hours and they're not getting paid for that. So the global supply chain issues will continue to cause prices to jump, as I've said before, for many goods and services. And that's why it's important for us as the preparation community and those in the survivor community, let's make sure that we are topping off our preps every month, whether it be food, water, medicine, training supplies, security supplies. All of that needs to be topped off because we're not going to be able to get the overseas things that we have from China and other places. Just a week ago, China shut down a key terminal at a major port after the Delta variant had infected a dock worker. And so it could be that. Now the cost of shipping a container on these east-west routes was up 360% from a year ago. And so even the prices of masks, for those of us who are vaccinated, those of us who are not, we still have to wear a mask in all these businesses and stores in most of these states, right? Well, you go on Amazon, masks have gone up to just a little pack of KN95 masks, nothing fancy, surgical masks. Now it's $25 to $35 for just a box of 30 masks. So price gouging will continue. The unemployment rate will continue, and this is going to hamper President Biden's Build Back Better America agenda because we can't start bringing back manufacturing. We can't return to full employment by early 2023, as everybody was talking about, if we cannot get job situation under control. Okay, now another thing to watch out for too is I told you inflation was going to go to 10%. Right now, inflation is at 8% and growing. So by the end of the year, inflation will be at 10%. The question is, will the Federal Reserve raise interest rates before the end of this year, or wait until the summer of 2022? My guess is that they'll wait till the summer of 2022. By that time, it'll be too late. Hyperinflation will have set in. We'll have inflation at 10% starting next year and higher. It will get as high as 12% like it did back in the 1970s under Paul Volcker. And things are going to get very, very dicey here in America because supply shortages are going to continue beyond 2023. Possibly as long as 2025 is what the analysts are saying in terms of the shipping lanes and getting back to normal, all of that stuff. And so if you can't get supplies now, think about that. How tough it's going to be when you have to wait 5 or 6 months for a generator or a new piece of furniture, a bed frame, or whatever the case may be, or a computer for your kids, or a laptop. So just think about that when you're out shopping next time. And that. So I just want to touch base with you. Thank you so much for supporting me during this time, this tumultuous last couple of weeks I've had here, with my family and other things. I appreciate your support. Be sure to subscribe and tell your friends that this is the channel for the 100% truth. We're going to be putting it out more frequently now as we go into the fall and we go into this wintertime season. So look forward to more videos. Algorithms may try to suppress a lot of my videos, but I'm trying to get it out as best I can. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless.